This video comes from PragerU titled, "Why is Modern Art So Bad?" So recently I made a video reacting to a video called "Why is Classical Art So Bad?" or something like that. And I guess that was actually a parody. Somebody commented and pointed out that that was supposed to be a parody of this video. So now I'm gonna watch this video and see what's going on here, why that guy was making this parody and what the problem is with this video. So I'm curious to see what they have to say. I've made some videos on this type of topic before, and I want to see what they have to offer, so let's find out.
The Mona Lisa, the Pietà, the girl with a pearl earring.
So just to start out, it's kind of funny. These are typically the type of works that people often hail as being like the greatest of all time, even though they may not be, just because they're pretty famous. So it's a little bit funny how different circles have different ideas about, what really constitutes a great work.
For a score of centuries, artists enriched Western society with their works of astonishing beauty. The Night Watch, the Thinker, the Rocky Mountains.
See these, again, I mean, they're very famous and very well known, but not even, the greatest works of those painters, or the sculptor in the case of Rodin.
Master after master, from Leonardo to Rembrandt to Bierstadt, produced works that inspired, uplifted, and deepened us. And they did this by demanding of themselves the highest standards of excellence, improving upon the work of each previous generation of masters, and continuing to aspire to the highest quality attainable. But something happened on the way to the 20th century. The profound, the inspiring, and the beautiful were replaced by the new, the different, and the ugly.
I mean, I know the guy made the parody and everything, and his seemed quite silly, but I don't have a problem with this. It's a lot of truth here. On the way, the philosophy changed. You have around the turn of the 19th century a pretty sharp change in philosophy that was being put into the art world and really created what we know as modern art.
Today, the silly, the pointless, and the purely offensive are held up as the best of modern art. Michelangelo carved his David out of a rock. The Los Angeles County Museum of Art just offers us a rock.
It's a good point. It's a good point. The David is at least, made into something greater. And yeah, I've been there. I've walked under that rock. It's just a rock. So the guy was like making fun of that, but I don't really see why. Shouldn't that be concerning that this boulder is being hailed as something great? I don't know.
Beginning in the late 19th century, a group dubbed the Impressionists rebelled against the French Académie des Beaux-Arts and its demand for classical standards.
So a lot of people have this idea of this being the timeline, but what they don't realize is that there's actually foundations laid far earlier than this in philosophy. So you have people like George Friedrich Hegel and Immanuel Kant even earlier. In the late 1700s, Immanuel Kant released his book, The Critique of Judgment. Later he was followed by his successor, George Friedrich Hegel, who released Aesthetics. And these actually contributed to the modern art philosophy. So at the very foundation of these, you're going to find the values of modern art, like originality, not using colors together, but rather using them individually. Also thinking that there needs to be a sort of spirit of the time is what Hegel is known for. So the spirit of the time, where the zeitgeist became very important to the artists, and they needed to do something new and original and to follow the trends of the time. So these are all things at the very foundation of modern art. And the interesting thing is that a painter like Cézanne or Kandinsky, two of the sort of pioneers of Impressionism or of modern art, were actually reading these philosophical books and parroting them in their own writings, which just goes to show that they were obviously acquainted with Kant and Hegel.
But the idea of a universal standard of quality in art is now usually met with strong resistance, if not open ridicule.
Yeah, that's very true. If you say that there's anything that could be universally understood or anything in terms of quality that could be universally understood, it's going to be met with a lot of criticism. I've experienced that. A lot of people are just so fixed into these ideas, which actually come from Kant and Hegel, that they can't even see that there's a possibility of some kind of objectivity in any sense.
How can art be objectively measured? I'm challenged. In responding, I simply point to the artistic results produced by universal standards compared to what is produced by relativism. The former gave the world the birth of Venus and the dying Gaul, while the latter has given us the Holy Virgin Mary, fashioned with cow dung and pornographic images, and Petra, the prize-winning sculpture of a policewoman squatting and urinating.
So yeah, that guy whose video I reacted to before, he actually used these exact examples. Again, these aren't the best examples, and I don't know where this guy's coming up with them, aside from the fact that they're, famous. But there's certainly better examples out there, although this does go to show the argument. There's obviously some sort of objectivity. If you get to the certain point where nothing can be understood from the work, of course that can't be better. You can't even, understand it. If it's just a blank canvas, how could you say that that's any better when it has no quality whatsoever? There's nothing to be understood.
Not only has the quality of art diminished, but also the subject matter has gone from the transcendent to the trashy. Where once artists applied their talents to scenes of substance and integrity from history, literature, religion, mythology, etc., many of today's artists merely use their art to make statements.
Again, if your only goal is to make a statement about politics or about the sort of trends of the time, what you're actually making and what you're doing there is going to die very quickly. As soon as that's no longer relevant, as soon as that's not like a hot button topic or something like that, it's going to immediately just lose all interest from anyone, because it's no longer going to impact them. That's why it's much stronger to go for universal statements, to go for things that are deeply human, things that are going to be true in 1,000 years from now, or were true 1,000 years ago. It should be something that anyone from any time can relate to.
By the art we patronize at museums or purchase at galleries, we can make our opinions not only known but felt. An art gallery, after all, is a business like any other. If the product doesn't sell, it won't be made.
It's completely true. I mean, don't go patronizing places that are not going to give you a good experience. If you go to modern art museums, a lot of people, of course, if you're interested in classical painting at all, you're not going to have a good time there. So why even go? Why bother? You should instead spend your money in other places that are actually going to help to bring more classical painting to the world. There will always be, gallerists out there and people out there who are selling modern art that are going to make sales, or there's people who are going to make purchases for millions of dollars, and you're going to always hear about these sort of nonsensical works of art that are going for millions. But at least in what you do and what you put around you, you have a certain level of control, and you can choose to put things around you that are actually going to improve your life. So if it's not going to improve your life, why even waste your time? Why waste your time? So there you go. That's a sort of funny ending. I actually mentioned that in the last video. That type of canvas, that type of art, it's not going to give you anything. People are, going to say that it means you can see anything in it, but it's nonsense. Of course, you know that. And Robert, the man who's in this video, Robert, if you see this, reach out to me. I'd like to work with you or talk about these sort of ideas with you. I think I could help you to make a much stronger argument against modern art and for the classical. So with that being said, if you guys have anything at all that you'd like to see, if there's any videos you want me to react to, feel free to leave it in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think about these videos. Do you want to see more like this? Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.